instead of one weird loner going to see Longlegs, how about take your family to go see the monkey?
I think if you're an actor and you're looking to do stuff for that purpose, it can be a path that can be a little bit dangerous, but certainly it's good to do stuff that people see, because often you don't do things that people see. And I'd wanted to do one for a long time, and I wanted to do one that had intelligence and an elevation to it, and Big Dog's the key guy to do that with, especially with those sweet nips.
When I was a kid, my twin brother and I found something that loved to kill. I did everything I could to make it go the f*** away. But it had other plans.
The screening that I saw had no AC, so it was like added
We did that
torture.
on purpose too.
Yeah, I kind of thought.
Where
like,
was
this
that? Was that here
seems like
or
something
another
Neon
city?
would do. It was just a screening room, yeah, in
Okay,
LA.
got it.
Yeah. So you're approached with a script to adapt this Stephen King short story. Talk about what was interesting to you.
Well, you know, I was presented this golden opportunity, right? Like, it almost seemed too good to be true. Not only is it the greatest author, the greatest contributor to the genre in any space for all time, right? So he's the guy. And then on top of it, you're given this image, this indelible image that I feel like everybody has sort of a take on the toy monkey. Everyone looks at it and has this sort of uncanny trigger in their brain where they don't quite like it. They're kind of compelled, and it's sort of cute, but it's sort of awful. And so as a writer, when you're faced with the daunting task of like the blank page, to have these two huge supports, these like columns of confidence was, you don't get that. And so to be offered that was like, really, it's like golden ticket. It's like I just pulled the golden ticket out of the thing. And with that confidence and with that support from the underlying material, I hate to say it, but it kind of wasn't hard to do well.
Definitely you feel that when you're doing a project where things kind of are easy, especially on the writing front. I'd always known that he was a great writer because we knew each other a little bit before and had worked on something. But you would write new scenes, you would tweak stuff within like almost 20 minutes, I feel like.
It's like once you get into the,
Yeah,
once you
the
are
zone.
allowed into the space, or like you're like in the room, you're like at the party, it's all good.
So you worked on something together, but it never got made, right?
Yeah.
So are you allowed to talk about it or no?
It was just a TV pitch for like an old folk horror.
Folk horror set in Britain. It was a great piece of IP, but
was.
it's you know the way the cookie crumbles. But the joy of it is that I met Oz and I saw how he operates. So when I heard that he was doing a piece of Stephen King property, you know, The Monkey, it seemed like a no-brainer. And then I was sent the script, and I was surprised, honestly, because it was hilarious, and I was unsure whether I'd read it right, and I had to check with him, and we had a chat.
Yeah, it's meant to be funny.
Yeah.
Because you can't, when you're reading it, you're like unsure if like maybe I'm missing the tone or something. Is that?
Yeah, I know. I guess I was surprised that it was that funny because I'd loved Blackcoat's Daughter. I'd watched all his work, and but it had all the right sensibilities, and it had real strong characters, honestly. And as an actor, even though it's fun and crazy and wild and a piece of entertainment, at its heart is underlying some interesting themes about fatherhood and about kind of intergenerational trauma. And it's kind of cheesy and portentous as that sounds. You need that, because even in a kind of bombastic movie like this, there has to be an undercurrent of reality to it.
Were you already on board when you guys tried to go through the studio system initially?
Kind of.
I feel like it was right in that kind of sweet spot where we decided we were going to try to do it independently, just because we felt like we had something original. And I know that sounds weird, but it's like, and not to decry studios by any means, because they do a lot of original stuff, but there's a needle to thread when you're coming at something from a new point of view. Someone's got to take a chance, and that we didn't have anybody doing that on the studio side. And also horror comedy, those two words together are like nightmare words for studio executives. They hate those words together because they're really hard to do, and they most of the time don't work. I think we did okay.
I would think that they would be, I mean, it's like, it's usually...
You'd think,
I don't
right?
know, I'm surprised.
You can't explain for humans,
Were
right?
they nervous about like the violence? Was that
No, I just think they not to be too specific about it, but they sort of had another movie in their mind that was sort of testing well, and that there's this thing, in movies where like they test with audiences and everyone's sort of like, I think this is good, and then the studio's like, well, then it should be like that. And it was just sort of the messaging that we got was a little bit like, don't do the thing you're doing, do the thing that's sort of succeeding over here, but ultimately wasn't very good.
I talked to Nicolas Cage for Longlegs, and he talked about like horror like allows him to kind of sort of explore different ways of acting that maybe he feels like he otherwise can't. Do you feel that at all?
Well, it was the first one I'd done, honestly, and I'd wanted to do one for a long time, and I wanted to do one that had intelligence and an elevation to it, and Big Dog's the key guy to do that with, especially with those sweet nips. Yeah, I think it enables you to take risks, I think, and especially with a collaborator where you feel comfortable to take big swings. That is a great space for an actor to be, because you can try things and not feel judged if it doesn't work, you know what I mean? And I think that's a key space to be in, because it's easy to become self-conscious as an actor. It's easy if you have certain success in one sphere to think you have to always be that person or emulate that in another, and Nicolas Cage is a good example of someone who doesn't care in that way, and as a result it creates really interesting choices, I think, and interesting performances that are very different in many ways. So I definitely think it affords that, but at the same time you need to understand the character and characters, and they need to have a backbone of some element of truth for you to be able to make them real, even in the wild bombacity of a story like The Monkey.
And Oz, I know you talked about like wanting this film to be accessible, and I guess I read that as like you're kind of maybe understanding that maybe some of your films aren't.
Well, that was the whole thing going into Longlegs, was like, I think I do okay. I think I have an okay understanding of what a movie can be. It'd be nice if more people saw it. It'd be nice if I could like feed my family better. It'd be nice if I could like it's like self-defense, right? Like self-preservation in an industry that's just like, how am I going to like connect in a way that makes me valuable to the money? Mm-hmm. And so with this, you know, the sort of the object was to make what felt like a Hollywood movie to me. It was supposed to feel much more like Zemeckis or Landis or even Spielberg or Gremlins, Joe Dante, to have like a real, like take your family, like sell 4 tickets. Instead of one weird loner going to see Longlegs, how about take your family to go see The Monkey?
Yeah, I got family movie of the,
family
of the
movie
winner.
Year,
yeah. Do you think about that, Theo, when you're choosing roles, like accessibility and kind of mass appeal and stuff like that?
Less so, because I think in my early career I got a little bit hampered by that, perhaps, and as an actor you have less control over the product. You know, Oz is the writer and director, so he can, he as much as he would like to or hope to do, he can fashion something for a wider audience. I think if you're an actor and you're looking to do stuff for that purpose, it can be a path that can be a little bit dangerous, but certainly it's good to do stuff that people see, because often you don't do things that people see, and you blood, sweat, and tears into things. You're away from your kids and your family, so for them to be seen by people is hugely gratifying. But to have that as the main thing to go into a project, I guess, is a little bit dangerous. But But beyond that, there's something highly satisfying, obviously, if people see it.
It's also different for people who wake up in the morning, get out of the shower, look in the mirror, and say, mass appeal.
Which I'm sure you guys do every morning.
Every morning. We actually call each other to do it together. No, you hang up first. No, you hang up first.